Huge flying boat. So, whoa!
所以我们等下走过去那边，
我们要到2楼驾驶舱，
希望爬上去。
后面啊，楼梯在后面。
这可以坐吗？
可以，
是吗？
可以啊。
最近可以坐。
太酷了！So how many percent of the planet is made out of wood?
About 94.
94.
Of the structure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Without counting the pipelines, those that's necessary for metals.
Wires, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just the body itself.
Yeah, the skeleton, the skin is pretty much 94%.
So, do they use rivets or how do they
Use
put
nails to hold the panels on until the glue dried, and then he
these?
pulled them with. He had a pneumatic nailer that he developed, and then a pneumatic nail puller. He pulled about 8 tons of nails out of the aircraft once the glue had dried.
Oh.
Yeah, probably the best place to see or to get an idea of how it's put together is where they cut the doors in. You can see, how thin the laminates are in the skin, and then some of the bigger pieces have about a 3/8.
And these are the nails?
No, these are the wooden
spars
structure that put the frames in the skin and some of the gussets that hold the aircraft together.
是真的木头做的。
Yeah, not quite as thin as aluminum, but still not bad. Yeah, it weighs about a little over 250,000
不
pounds.
太确定耶。
250.
Should I show you this one? Where the next group?
Sure. Just a couple of minutes.
Sure. So what were those bowls for in there? What were those bowls for?
They were to keep the floats from sinking. Okay, if the float got a hole in it from a tree trunk or an oil barrel
Oh,
that
okay.
was going through the water, the beach balls would displace the water, keep the float from sinking and breaking off.
Oh, okay. So they were originally placed in the
They
wing
were
section.
those were found in those floats. There are a number of similar things, like we call them airbags now. There's 18 watertight compartments down below. There's a bunch of styrofoam and those airbags are in those.
Okay.
He wanted to make sure that he didn't sink.
Because that was the only fly, the last last fly.
Yeah. When he flew around the world in 1937, the airplane that he flew in, he put 80 pounds of ping pong balls in the wings, so it wouldn't sink in case he had to ditch.
So he had that idea and we kind of applied that here.
Let's go upstairs. How many do we have?
4?
No, this was called the.
走前面吧，我猜过很多遍。Thank you。我们走前面，有问题就问吧。
Nicknamed Hercules.
走前面，有问题就问。去，我已经走过很多遍，
哦，你有来过？
我来过第3遍。Thank you.
You're welcome. All
Go.
right, we have cameras.
Here?
Yeah, do you have a Okay, great.
Oh, we do in cell phones.
All right.
That will work too.
If it's all right with you, also I will shoot pictures of the group.
Sure.
Okay.
I know.
Wait.
What was this for?
I'm going to tell you.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
Do you need to interpret what I say?
No. We're all student pilots in Hillsborough.
Oh, excellent. Okay, the day of the flight, 2nd November 1947, there was nothing on the deck of the airplane. It was totally clean. Very flat, okay? But the day of the flight, Hughes did not have the backup hydraulic system. And you need hydraulics. You can't fly the airplane without it. 4 of the engines have hydraulic pumps on them. 3 of the engines have electrical generators on them. Number 8 has neither. So if Hughes had lost one of those engines with a hydraulic pump on it, the airplane probably would have crashed. Okay? After the flight, he built a hangar for the airplane on Terminal Island in Long Beach. Put the airplane away there, and he started making changes to it and additions. And one of the first things he did was to add backup hydraulics, and that's what these are.
Oh,
2
okay.
hydraulic pumps, its backup, hydraulic pump, and its backup. There's actually a 5th one behind the co-pilot seat.
That's几个 hydraulic.
Those are for that's the backup, kind of the backup hydraulic system.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
For, not for any specific engine, because the engines, they're kind of providing those powers for the whole system through the whole engine.
If you watch the film of the flight when he's coming down, as he's starting to land, he's throttling back. The props start to spin down. Well, his co-pilot, who was the hydraulic engineer, said, "Howard, we're losing the hydraulics because he's throttling down."
Because the throttle.
And on the film, you can see just as he starts to settle in, the props spin back up again as he puts power on it. So they were really concerned about that. So that was the first thing. Now to answer your question about this thing, there are 20 to 30 miles of wiring in the airplane. Examples right behind you.
Careful.
Notice that none of it is color coded.
Oh, these.
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And we'll see more, many more when we get upstairs. So with that much length on the electrical system, it needs a special electrical
Engineering.
power to move the electricity through all that length of wire. So we put in a 120 volt DC electrical system. Okay? So whoever was sitting here was looking for fire and smoke and flames from the monitoring station here. If they saw it, they were supposed to pull this handle right here, which would physically cut the cables from the electrical system while they were sitting in a metal chair.
Just sitting in the hot zone.
Yeah. Now you guys will probably recognize these. These are, of course, radio direction finder antenna houses.
Antenna?
Normally you'd see those on the outside of an airplane, okay, on the shin or on the spine. Well, if you did that with the Goose, the fuselage would not fly as effectively because of turbulence. You said it's a wooden airplane, the radio waves will just go right through it.
Oh, true. So they were using what, NDB that time?
They were using what?
NDB or VOR already?
VOR, we'll see that when we get upstairs.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, still ADF at that time.
In that time period, it was automatic direction finder. ADF was the.
Oh, okay.
Radio guys, I don't know. Radio nerds.
No, it's a fair.
Yeah, well,
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
I don't mind at all. Helicopter pilot.
It's okay. So those are here after the first and last test fly.
Yes, as was everything.
They were planning to have a second test fly, or they didn't know that.
Nobody knows.
Oh, okay.
He also, but in the meantime, he put in this air cleaning, air conditioning system right here. Once he did that, he blocked access to the flight deck. People used to use this ladder to get up there, so he had to put the spiral staircase.
Got it.
A little bit of metal, most of this 95% is wood.
Gosh.
Come on up.
95%.
几乎整架飞机。
The structure of the plane.
哦，就是结构嘛。
Yeah, without counting the wiring. Woohoo!
All right, let's start at the back and then we'll move forward and everybody can have a chance to
Sure.
sit in the cockpit. Come this way, please. The wings are hollow. The day of the flight, there were 2 mechanics in each wing.
Mm-hmm.
And they were there to help Hughes control the engines a little bit. You can't work on the engines. They're cantilevered out too far in front. This is the leading edge right here.
Yep.
So the engines are way out there, so they can just monitor. Now each engine nacelle has a 30-gallon oil tank. And because these are radials, they eat oil. So those 30-gallon oil tanks are replenished from this 280-gallon tank here.
For all 8 engines? Whoa. 280 gallons of oil. How do you do the pre-fly?
Oh.
Open. Oh, 280.
Those 2 holes right there, right down there, those 2 portholes lead into what's called the wing box. The wing box is the width of the fuselage and it's 14 feet high. That's where the wings are attached to the fuselage. When we get out, you can see the bolt heads and everything from the cargo bay when we get down.
Wow. So this piece is probably metal. It sounds
The
like metal.
engine mounts of the tanks are the majority of the metal. The rest of it's wood.
So the fuselage itself is out of
It is
metal.
also wood. Yeah.
Wow.
The engines are Pratt & Whitney 4360s, 3,000 horsepower. They gulp fuel 107 gallons an hour
Yep.
in cruise. So there's 12,500 gallons of fuel capacity in the bilges in 14 fuel tanks. The fuel is pumped up here through these 2 black hoses and then goes out to fuel pressurization tanks in each wing. And then of course from there it goes out to the engines. But it takes a lot to get 4,360 cubic inches going. So that's what this does. This is an APU.
Whoa.
It's actually 2 Franklin 113 horsepower aviation engines that drive these 2 dynamos, which send electricity out to the starter motors. Once the engines with the 3 electrical generators on them get going, they start sending electricity back into the airplane. The flight engineer can turn this off. Imagine 24,000 horsepower, this thing going, absolutely no soundproofing. And it was dark in here because that side looked like this side. Those windows weren't put in until the airplane went on display in Long Beach.
So they need a flashlight for good.
There was another level to the platform. People could walk up and look in here. That's why the windows were open. Let's go up to the cockpit area and we'll figure out who's going to be where.
它每个都分一个细节去监控，对，不然
Go, go, go. This is my 3rd trip here.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. Watch your heads.
Take the seat. Who wants to take the seat? Who wants to be the pilot?
There you
I'm the
go.
captain.
Watch your heads.
这是什么东西啊？
Now you're the instructor. Instructor sits on the right side. So this one was built to take off overseas
Correct.
water.
It is a
This-
flying boat.
Okay.
Now, keep in mind that mathematics says that landing gear adds about 15 to 20% to an airplane's weight.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another reason he made a flying boat.
Sure.
Plus, at the time he made this, there were not as many runways in the world.
Oh.
Those were only built during and after the war.
Mm-hmm.
So, thus the flying boat.
Mm-hmm. After World War II? Two.
Say again?
That was after World War II, right?
Correct.
Okay.
1945. Yeah.
Okay.
Gentlemen, notice on the throttles. Okay, they're numbered 1 through 8. Okay, they also have a letter on them, either an E or an H. That means that the engine has either an electrical generator on it or a hydraulic pump.